power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feet, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Florabella on my screen, her smile it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence it grows and grows, we're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows, she's where we all belong.
All right. Hello to everybody. Hello to everybody. Hello. I'm still getting used to this double streaming perspective, so bear with me, guys. I might be playing with the screen a little bit, trying to, as you see, like, now I'm back up here. But I'm really trying to get something going where we have my screen and then what I'm trying to present. So, guys, do me a favor as you're coming in. hit the like button for me. This is my first time doing the multi-stream. So I'm on a vertical and I'm on a basic live stream, trying to integrate that audience and get people in and all of that outside of the vertical stream. So hopefully you guys enjoy the stream today. Now, what we're talking about is nothing fun, right? This is not a fun situation, but this is something that's happening. It's still actively being investigated. Most of you, if you don't know already, I am from Rhode Island, right? So when I saw that my state was actually the one involved in all this, it was very shocking. You know, think this is a small state, so it was pretty shocking that something like that made it to my front door, to my backyard, whatever you'll call it. So we're just gonna kind of cover all this case as it's come out. As you guys know, when it's really, 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 really early in a case like this, it's important to, not fumble the facts or anything. But because this is a mass deletion, there's been a lot of accurate coverage coming from law enforcement, coming from people locally, coming from news stations and things like that. So I'm not necessarily worried about disseminating improper information. You know, at this point, this is a mass deletion. So it's something that's going to be headlined and, talked about and studied for a very long time. Most of this information, as we go forward, if anything, I don't necessarily think accuracy is going to change. I mostly think motive and all that stuff that we don't have right now is definitely going to come out as time continues to go forward. So we're gonna start really quick with, this is the first thing that I saw yesterday. I went to a holiday party and just kind of slipping through IG, and this was reported. This is an aerial view of the area. Now, after we kind of get into the conversation a little bit, I'm gonna show you guys how integrated Brown University is to the community that it's in. Right? There's very much lots of parts of Providence that are very open, it seems, right? Obviously, we know that ID cards and things like that are what's going to normalize, like, who can be where. Like, for the most part, you can't just walk into a Brown campus and pretend to be a student. But there is definitely a lot of integration with the local community. I think that's what made it an easy target, right? When you have this integration with the local community and you have just people feeling generally incredibly safe without really knowing if it's safe. So we're going to get into all of that. But we're going to start here with what I first saw about this case last night. Okay?
It is surprising, I guess, to some that on a Saturday afternoon there would be a busy area within this university. But as you were saying, there were students participating in exams.
That's right. Preparing for exams, according to officials there were some exams that were taking place in that building. You can imagine a school like Brown University, the Saturday before exam weeks, that there would be a lot of students in these study areas working together either in groups or their own independent study to prepare for those exams. So this building definitely had some people inside of it, and it was also just a busy day in Providence. There was a college basketball game that was being let out at the same time. So a lot of activity.
One thing a lot of people have to realize if they've ever been to Providence or the Brown University campus is that these streets that are being filmed are not private roads on a campus, right? They're not like for example, where I went to school, our campus was like enclosed within a surface, right? So all of our buildings, for the most part, besides like a few, were within a closed grounds. And I think what people don't realize is while they're filming an aerial view of Providence and of Brown University, that area is deeply ingratiated in the local environment. So the streets that you're seeing, yes, some of those buildings are Brown University, but some of those buildings have nothing to do with the college campus at all. Brown has always been like that, right? Brown has always been integrated within a city versus being its own city, right? Like, other colleges in the state, they're confined to certain areas. Brown is not that. Brown is like, there's a few Brown buildings here. We're in east side of Providence. Then there's other buildings here, downtown Providence, all the business, You know, like it's really kind of fit where like Brown University is amongst a city versus like a city amongst a city. Like it's not its own closed area. Brown University is within a larger Providence. So it's kind of confusing how they even were able to kind of contain everything, because this street that they're filming is adjacent to a street that has nothing to do with Brown. Um, Listen, Lone Wolf, we already know. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and try to racialize this, but we already know. Like 9 times out of 10, we know. And when I get into the video of the person, like the suspect, their frame and everything, like we know who are committing these crimes. But let's continue.
Activity in that area. For folks that aren't familiar with Brown University's campus, a lot of the campus kind of takes place within the city. It's not
So verbatim what I just said, right? I'm from here, so I know. I spent a lot of time in Providence. It's within a city. It's not its own place, right? There's other universities in Rhode Island that they're not built like that. They're built where like we are a campus. Everything outside this is off campus. Brown is like ingratiated within Providence. So it's very easy for you to walk in this door and you be in a Brown University building, and then walk in this door and it's just a Providence like business. You know what I'm saying? It's very ingratiated within the city. And I think when we're talking about like how this played out, why it was on like shelter in place, why things were locked down, the structure of the campus starts to make a lot of sense to why they dealt with it. You know, because I'm gonna play some videos of people saying like, oh, we were locked down for 7 hours. Yeah, because your campus is within another major city. It's within another major city. There's no way to just come in and be like, let's grab all the Brown students. That's not how it works. Brown University is within a city. It did not take over the city. They're not the majority of the people in Providence. At the end of the day, they're a very niche part of Providence. And the problem is most people don't really know when they're on campus and when they're not. It changes from campus to local city to even Thayer Street. They talk about Thayer Street is not Brown University. Thayer Street is just Providence. So you got a bunch of young people. Like when I was young, I remember going to Thayer Street, like to go get Chinese food or get a slice of pizza. Like this is what people locally do. So you have a college within a robust city, a city that's like a major point within the state, and it's really difficult to contain that, you know. And when we talk about where the suspect was found, it makes sense that he was able to get away so quickly. But yeah,
not
this is
just all inside of some sort of a gated perimeter. So the area near where this happened is a street called Thayer Street, and that has people that are both in the Brown community, but just Rhode Island and southeastern New England residents at large, who would be on that street and would be going to various shops and restaurants and bars. So this is a pretty popular place, and obviously a concern for.
So I used to work about, what was it, like maybe 8 or 9 minutes away from there. I was about to say 5, but if you really count traffic and like the one-way streets, I was about 8 minutes away from there when I was working as a paralegal. You can be anybody on that street. Anybody. It's like where I went to college, I wasn't just walking around anybody. I'll tell you that. My college was very much in a gated perimeter, right? There was no integration with the local community. We were a very niche part of that city. Like you knew that if a person was within these parameters here, they were likely at the university. Brown is nothing like that. Brown is a very open campus. There's people from all over the place. You know, they talked about bars, restaurants, shops. All those bars, restaurants, and shops are integrated within that area. Just in this aerial screen, there's on the left side of the screen, if you're looking at the screen, on the top of it, that's Brown University. On the bottom, that's all downtown Providence businesses, local organizations. None of that is part of the campus. So, you know, I think somebody targeting Brown University, it's a lot easier than it is to target another university. Like if they were to go to URI or RIC, they could not get away with this. You're not even moving around the other universities without somebody figuring out who you are and that you're out of place. versus Providence, you could be anybody. You could be a student, you could be someone who lives there, you can be a local resident, you could be a tourist. That's how kind of ingratiated Brown is to the local Providence area. It's a small city, but it's still a robust city. So, all right, we're gonna kind of move on now. Now, I want to show you guys a few more shorts just to give you guys an idea.
No.
Just to give you guys an idea of kind of how all this was like kind of going on. So last night, most of us who live in the area, we saw that stream. You know, we saw those pictures, the aerial footage of down, Brown University and its relation to the downtown Providence area. This is people being evacuated later that night. Now, do I think that they would have been sheltered in place for so long had Brown University not been the type of campus it was? No. There's no way for them to secure a scene like this. So those people who were complaining about, oh, they were sheltered in place for 7 hours, that was the safest thing to do for them. That was the safest. There's no way to safely get out every Brown University student from an environment that's that deeply ingratiated to the city. And another university that reminds me of Brown University is Johnson and Wales University, right? They're also very ingratiated within the local city. There isn't just a campus that you could circle and be like, this is JWU, this is Brown. There is none of that. So that's why it's so easy to just kind of walk in here as a single person. Again, I'm not blaming the university. I'm telling you how they're a target, right? Anybody can just walk in. Anybody can walk by. Anybody can pretend to be a student, and they might actually look like they fit in with the population there. You know what I'm saying? So this is them obviously rescuing people hours later. But even where they're about to walk out into, right? Where they're walking out is adjacent to Johnson and Wales University. So they're not even in an area on their campus, that's exclusionary to just their university. I heard people trying to guess, like, is this a Brown University student? Is this somebody who was disgruntled? Is this somebody who was mad? We don't know. There's no way to know yet, right? Until the news really comes out with kind of all this information, there's no way for us to know who these people were. What is a criminal supposed to look like? There is no look. BG free, you could be a criminal. You might think you look real legit, but somebody could look at you and see a criminal too. There is no look for a criminal. There's none at all. That's why somebody like himself was able to come into the campus and do what he do, right? And kind of just come in how he feels like it, and be able to pretend to be a student or pretend to be somebody who's legitimately there, right? He could be on Thayer Street. He could be on Thayer Street trying to get a slice of Antonio's pizza. He could be there for Chinatown on Thayer Street. He could be there for anything that has nothing to do with students on the campus. And that's what makes it incredibly dangerous. All right, so next we have, this is just clips again, guys. I'm trying to show you guys kind of what it looked like for these students, where they were in relation to the city, to the environment that they were in. All right, let me share the screen here. This is another group of students that were found last night. They were finally let out. The shelter in place wasn't really lifted until about midnight, I think. And again, it has a lot to do with the fact that you can't tell the difference. Now, that's not true. So the reason why I'm stating what I'm stating, BG free, sorry, I said BG free. The reason why I'm stating what I'm stating is because Brown and Johnson and Wales are the few campuses in Rhode Island that are like that, right? Where people who are locally here are just as outside as the college students. Like, there's certain areas where it's not going to be a bunch of tourists, people who live there, people from the area just roaming all the time. Brown University, JWU, is very different because of their location. It could be anybody, somebody from out of state, out of country. It could be somebody who lives there. It could be someone who has a child in the state who might not even be from there. It could be somebody as close as from Massachusetts, right? Because somebody from Massachusetts can drive over 25 minutes and be near Providence. So the point that I'm making is not that like, oh, there's a typical look, is that there's so many people that could be involved in this versus like it being another campus that was more secure and closed down and having to guess like, okay, that person looks out of place, that person looks out of place. In a college campus, we can account for everybody who's there for the most part. There's going to be very few people that you can't account for. And that's what I respect about the university I went to, is that it was enclosed. It was its one individual community. There was nothing outside of it that gives like any regular person access to it. You know, even when my family came to visit me, they had to legitimize who they were when they were coming on campus. They couldn't move among the buildings with their vehicle without saying who they are, without getting a pass, without having to pay for parking or to be in a certain area. You know, and I think Brown University has been comfortable being like this because this is a small state. It's a very, very small state, so it's very easy to think like you're safe when there could be a lot more going on, which for me, I think there was a lot more. I think somebody could have very well studied Brown University and said, this is the easiest place to target, right? I can't pull up on URI and go target there because for me to get anywhere there, everyone's going to have to know where I am, who I am, what I'm doing there versus Brown. Yeah, you know, I'm not even trying to make an argument about who the type of victim. I'm telling you that anybody could have come off the street. Anybody could have got off a Greyhound bus. Anybody could have got out of TF Green now because TF Green now is taking flights everywhere. Anybody could have got off of there and walked to a Brown University. That's what it's incredibly accessible. And that's a major issue for safety, especially when we're living in an America where people are willing to do something like this. All right, let's continue.
Police! Providence police! Hands! Stand up, hands! Providence police! Everybody's hands! Hands! Everybody get your hands! Hands! Just keep your hands up for us. Obviously, there's something going on. We're here to help you. Just listen to what we have to say, okay? All right, breathe. Anybody hurt? No? All right, just listen to our commands. We will get you out of here safely. Is this it? Is this the group?
Guys, if you have your bags, your phones, go grab it now. Quickly,
Go, quick, go.
and orderly, fast. Let's go. Good job.
You know, and it's scary because, like I said, anybody can. This library that they're in, I think I know exactly where this library is. I did a institute program at Brown University, so I know the campus very well. But this library is directly in the center of downtown Providence. So yeah, like he could have very well jumped in here and tried to pretend to be a student after doing what he did, you know. But we'll hear about where he was at.
Move the sign. Grab your stuff. Hurry up.
So, you know, it's a very touch and go. It was a very touch and go situation for these people. They had to wait for law enforcement. It was about 11 o'clock at night, I believe, before most of them were released. All right. And you know what was even scarier was the fact that I woke up this morning and what was even scarier was the fact that I woke up this morning and the shooter was still at large. All right. Despite a lot of conflicting messaging about if the shooter was caught, if they caught him on scene, he was still at large as of this morning. All right. So let me share this video here where they're talking about that. And as the time that we're speaking of right now, 1:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he's caught now. But this morning, he was still a person of interest. All right, so let's go into this here.
Mass shooting at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. A massive manhunt is underway at this hour for an active shooter. Authorities to news that the shooting occurred in a classroom where a study group was taking place. 2 people have died, 9 people were hurt. One is in critical condition and 6 others are critical but stable. Governor Daniel McKee saying a short time ago that they will catch this individual that has brought harm to so many. There's a massive police presence on the Brown campus. Federal, state, and local authorities all searching for that shooter. Faculty and students are being told to shelter in place, to continue to shelter in place. Brown sending several emergency alerts.
So, it's interesting. They're showing you an aerial view of the city, right? Even though they have Brown University labeled, these buildings that you're seeing are not all Brown University. I don't know if a lot of you can't tell, but majority of those buildings here on the right side of the screen, these are residential properties, right? And then you have 4, 5, 6. You have that tall engineering building there in the up left-hand corner. Those are all Brown University buildings, but everything else surrounding those buildings are local businesses, local properties, right? Local people who live there, their hotels, their residential buildings. This campus, this area that they're deeming as Brown University is not all of Brown University. You have a campus or a couple buildings ingratiating in a major city, right? And that is what has posed the most danger. Now, this is not to blame Brown University or anybody. Just, I hope no one has taken that. But I'm telling you that for somebody who's looking to do damage, who's looking to be elusive, right? This is like the perfect storm, right? Because this is a college within a major city. Providence is not that big of a city, but when you compare it to the whole of Rhode Island, yes, it is. It's probably the only area that you could have got away with this and been able to be found far away like he was. All right, let's continue though.
People on campus instructed to lock doors, silence their phones, and remain hidden. Officials say the first reports of an active shooter came in around 4 this afternoon at the engineering building where a final exam was underway. The school's winter break begins 1 week from today. President Trump has been briefed on the situation, calling it, quote, a terrible thing. Let's go now to Erica Tarantal. She's the anchor from our Boston affiliate, WCVB. She's on the scene.
Andrew, I'm Erica Tarantel with WCVB TV out of Boston in Providence on the campus of Brown University, just blocks from where this mass shooting unfolded shortly after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This happened in an engineering building on the Brown University campus. We now know that 2 people were killed and 9 others injured when a gunman opened fire inside that building and then, according to a witness, walked out. The only description we have of that suspect is that it is a man who was wearing all black, and there is now an all-out manhunt for that suspect throughout the city of Providence. Here by campus, by the heart of the city, we're seeing buses as they're picking up students who have been sheltering in place for more than 5 hours now, finally being reunited with their families as tactical crews are staged just outside of campus, waiting for word of any sighting of this suspect. Residents, businesses, they've been asked to look for all surveillance as they try to find where this gunman may have gone after leaving the building where this all unfolded. It is terrifying here in the city. Outside of campus, as you drive in, you can see that people have their lights off, their doors locked, as this shelter in place is still very much in effect. Andrew, back to you.
And I wish they would be honest about this type of campus, like, because they keep saying, like, oh, everyone was scared outside of campus. There is no Brown University campus. Brown University is completely ingratiated into the local city. Excuse me. And because of that, it's become a target. For a sick individual like this, it was a target because there is no campus. That's why shuttles got to come in and grab people from here or there, because there's no perimeter around Brown University. It's within a city, and they were completely vulnerable. Right now, I heard something about somebody leaving a door unlocked for final exams. Yeah, that type of thinking, that complacency, is what allows for situations like this to happen. But let's continue.
All right, Erica, thank you. Just moments ago, authorities released the video of the individual they believe is the suspect. Take a look right there, dressed all in black, walking away. This is the only video so far that authorities have released to the public that they say is the suspect there. He was caught on camera walking on Hope Street and taking a right turn on Waterman Street. Meanwhile, students on campus watching in horror as events played out. One telling the Associated Press that he
Mind you, Hope Street and Waterman Street are nowhere on Brown University campus. Hope Street, Providence. All right, map. I'm gonna show you guys real quick because I think like truly like if people are going to if we're gonna keep building campuses amongst cities, we really have to know where people are kind of going. Okay, so I'm showing you guys here a map of the area. You see how Hope Street, you could see some Brown University buildings, right? These are some buildings here. Oh, sorry. People post the weirdest shit on Google Maps. Like, what is this? Who posted this? Why? Excuse me. Um, but this right here that you're seeing is the very beginning of Hope Street. Look. If I look at the little mount, right? Mount Hope, Hope Street, Blackstone Valley Realty. If you get a little bit closer, you see Seven Stars Bakery. None of these are businesses that are within the campus, right? India Restaurant, Swan Point Cemetery. I think this should be at the very least a learning experience for universities, right? This is a tragedy. But if we're gonna live in a country where people are doing mass deletions, then we need to become more aware of the environment. Sorry guys, I'm trying to we need to be more aware of the environment that we're living in and put in some safety measures. So again, I'm showing you guys side by side here. In this is the where that person is. You see him, right? That's this right here, where you can see the local Brown University campus. You can see vehicles. Sorry, I was trying to do the street view, but it doesn't look like I can do it on here. These are some buildings for Brown University, but you go a little bit further, right? Seven Stars. Okay, look at this. I didn't even go that much further. This is a residential street. These are regular people just right here, right? Right within Brown University buildings. I'm trying to see if I can even demonstrate for y'all. Look, this is all Hope Street now. This area right here is very close to Brown University. I'll tell you guys that. This is like, and I'm trying to get the perfect view because I'm like, it's a little bit messed up here trying to show it on the vertical in my street. But if you look right here on the right side of the screen, right? This area right here is just local not Brown University. This is local Providence. Seven Stars Bakery. Remember, I was showing you guys that. Seven Stars Bakery is probably a 5-minute walk from some of the dorms. This CVS, same thing. When I was doing the program in the summer, this CVS here in the local area is about 5 minutes from the dorms, right? And I think because Rhode Island is so small, it has that homey feel, right? And that's the sad part, is that we're kind of living in a different environment than when even these universities were created, right? That's probably a Brown student right there, living her best life. But this is the east side, right? There's call this cafetorium. A lot of these shops are places that people who go to Brown University frequent. But Brown University is ingratiated within a very busy little city. Like Rhode Island is small. People like Rhode Island is literally like couple 100,000 people, like very small. But this area has so many different type of people in it. Like just between these street views, like look at this. That's a Brown University student, probably. And then there's local businesses, PVD Deli. I believe this is where Cecilia's might be next to. That's like a very oh wait, no, Cecilia's up by Federal Hill. Rody Cafe. Right? These are places that have nothing to do with Brown University, but are very much ingratiated within the community where Brown University stays in. You know, I think that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, is that a lot of college campuses are built very differently. And Brown is one of those where you can very well be ingratiated within the community and not have anything to do with Brown University. This is a church, massive church on the corner of the street. Best little hair house. This is like all of the local area right next to these buildings that are Brown. So, hey, Joanne. How you doing? Good morning. I'm still fighting this cold, as you guys can all hear. Rochambeau. This is all right near Brown University, but this is not the campus. These are just local businesses. This is a very robust part of Providence. So he could have slipped in and out of any part of this area and been right next to the university. Very vulnerable area, I think. And it's just kind of tragic. But let's continue here on this video.
Sat in his dorm shaking as he watched officers in tactical gear surround the building. He said he feared for a friend who was inside the engineering building where the shooting took place. Brown University just moments ago sending a letter to the community calling this a deeply tragic day and urging all students and faculty to be in touch with their families to let them know that they're safe.
Got the alerts, and then I and others just immediately rushed to the staff to say, where are we sheltering? And they told us where to go, and that is where we went. And then the staff members, went through the building to make sure that people got out of the pool, people got out of the locker room, they got out of all the other spaces so that we could be in the most secure.
And again, just moments ago, police releasing this video they say is the suspect. They say this individual they believe was captured on camera walking on Hope Street and taking a right on Waterman Street. If you have any
Now, I'm curious if I can get that on Hope Street and Waterman Street. Let's see if I can. This is where the killer was. Yeah, you see? Ben and Jerry's. This is closer. So they were really close to Thayer Street. I had no clue they were that close. One thing I'll say is I had no idea that they were this close to Thayer Street. But yeah, this is the Brown area right here. A lot of Brown buildings in this area, but still. So he was able to get away from the campus that he just shot up, walk on a street over here on the Lower East Side, or Upper East Side, I should say, because this is by Thayer, right? And just kind of disappear into the traffic. I had an internship around here when I was in high school with a forensic psychologist. He was literally able to, sorry, let me share this. I meant to be sharing this tab here. This is Hope Street in Waterman. I had an internship with a forensic psychologist that wasn't even 4 minutes from here. All this whole area, local businesses, doctors, offices, other medical buildings, dentists, things like whole area, you can literally disappear into this traffic and just be a part of the everyday hustle and bustle, which we're finding out today is a little dangerous. Waterman Street, Hope Street is probably that long one, right? So he's able to take a right and just boom, disappear. Sorry guys, I'm over here trying to show you all the map. Hope Street and Waterman Street. He was just able to take a right, disappear right into Providence local area traffic. That's crazy. That is insane. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen. Oh, we just about finished up that video. We'll kind of move on, right? Because there's been several developments, and I know that this is very early on. So obviously we'll find out more about the shooter and his motives, right? What we're going to talk about right here, really quickly, we're going to get into the press conference, all right? Because as we know, as of today at, like 8 or 9 in the morning, he was located. He was located in Coventry. So I'm going to share that quick video, and then we're going to watch the official press conference coming from the police, and sort of, what they know, what we can confirm to a surety from the police, and then we'll kind of move on to what's happening in Australia, because I did want to talk about that.
To the deadly shooting at Brown University, police say they now have a person of interest in custody. Authorities in Rhode Island confirm a suspect in their 30s is being held in connection to the shooting at Brown that killed 2 people and hurt 9 others. Police did not say if this person is connected to the university in any other way. This person was arrested at a hotel about 20 miles from campus. The shooting happened inside an engineering building, and investigators are still trying to figure out how this person got inside, since some of these buildings and rooms require badge access. The shelter in place order has been lifted, but police presence will remain heavy. We have an update to the deadly shooting at Brown University.
So again, he's in custody, right? They claim he's a tall man, in his mid-30s. That doesn't tell us really much, all right? But let's see what they mentioned in the press conference today. Obviously, we got to understand, like any active investigation, the police aren't just going to air out every detail that they have. They're definitely going to give us the information on a need basis, and they're going to preserve their investigation. So before anybody starts getting mad about, oh, they're not telling us enough, they're going to give us what we need to know. All right, let's get into the press conference.
Good afternoon. Again, I'm Providence Mayor Brett Smiley. I'm joined with Governor McKee, who we will hear from in just a moment. We're also joined by Senator Jack Reed and Congressman Gabe Amo, and we will hear from Senator Jack Reed in a moment on behalf of Rhode Island's federal delegation, who've been in touch with us throughout this incident over the last day. And as both the governor and I have said on multiple occasions, the amount of federal resources and cooperation that we've received is extraordinary, and that extends to our representatives here in Rhode Island. And then finally, Colonel Oscar Perez will give an update as well. At this time, we have no update to share on the investigation. It is ongoing. There is no reason to believe that we've hit any roadblocks other than to say that we are doing what we know how to do in cooperation with our law enforcement partners to ensure that we adequately, thoroughly investigate the situation, and when we are ready to make a further announcement, we will do so. We know there's some information circulating, but we will not share any information that might compromise our investigation or future charges. So at this time, we have no official updates to share with respect to the investigation. Next, it's clear that our community is still in shock and hurting. And now that the initial phase of the investigation has made some progress, we're turning our attention to caring for our neighbors, both the Brown community, the broader Providence community, and truly all of Rhode Island. The city of Providence has stood up a website, the address of which is providenceri.gov/community response resources. There you can find a long list of community resources for mental health care, what to do in the event of trauma, how to help talk about events like this with your kids, to try to help families, neighbors, community members start to understand how to process that which has been so difficult for us. Finally, the Providence City Council, who've been excellent partners, and again, we're joined by leaders from the City Council, including the councilman for this area, Councilman John Gonsalves, is inviting the Providence community and really anyone who'd like to join us tonight at 5 p.m. at Lippett Park, where there had been a previous plan to light a Christmas tree and to light a menorah for the first night of Hanukkah. And for those who know at least a little bit of the Hanukkah story, it is quite clear that if we can come together as a community and shine a little bit of light tonight, I think there's nothing better that we could be doing as a community. And so please know you're all invited to Lippett Park tonight at 5 o'clock. Lippett Park is at 1008 Hope Street, and all are welcome. Certainly Providence Police and other folks will be on hand to make sure that we are all can be in community without any concerns tonight. I'd like to note that Family Services is here with us today, Margaret Holland McDuff. She is one of those community resources that has become available. I'd like to also acknowledge that United Way of Rhode Island and their 211 system has been helping, and leaders from the Nonviolence Institute have been assisting with families in the hospitals. Additionally, Treasurer James Diosa and his Victim Compensation Fund has already been in touch to ensure that his office is doing everything that they can. Before I turn it over to the governor, I'll just share that a couple hours ago, I was at the hospital. I know President Paxton has been several times, but I had a chance to meet with a few of the victims and their families. And while they are receiving excellent medical care, and I want to thank the professionals at Brown Health and Rhode Island Hospital, the professionalism, these folks, just like our law enforcement professionals, have been up all night working, but the level of care and professionalism that they are exhibiting is extraordinary. These survivors are receiving excellent care, and the resilience that these survivors showed and shared with me is frankly pretty overwhelming. It pales in comparison what they've gone through for the rest of us here. We're all saddened and scared and tired, but what they've been through is something entirely different, and yet they showed courage and hope and gratitude for how this community has stood up for them and how the healthcare providers cared for them. A couple of the family members who I had a chance to speak with are so grateful for what they've seen and heard of the outpouring of support from this community. And so I want to relay that to all of you, that they're watching what's happening also, and their healing is improved based upon all of the positivity and love and care that they've seen from not just the Rhode Island community, but frankly, the national community. And so thank you. Governor McKee has been an incredible partner through all of this. And I'm grateful for his leadership and the compassion that he's shown and the relentless focus he's.
Now, one thing I will say is they pretty much let you guys know, or let us all know, because I've been knowing, but he pretty much let us all know we're not letting you know a goddamn thing that's going on because this investigation is ongoing. We're not going to tell you anything. So I'm sure the rest of this is going to be thanks to everyone. Okay, but we're going to hear, because they do answer some questions. So let me move forward a little bit. Just wanted to explain that I will be fast forwarding.
So today, Brown students and the community is suffering and they're in pain. So please let the President and the Brown community know that we stand with you. So as we start this second day of this tragedy, I do feel as though it's important to really point out Mayor Smiley and his team, first responders, state police and our federal partners, Brown University, the staff at the hospitals, and as the mayor said, the media who has been able to really put out the information that I'm sure is going to help accelerate the fact that we have someone in custody. The mental health support. The community needs our compassion and our support as the process of this horrific. I get to speak on behalf of the people of the state of Rhode Island as a dad, as a grandparent included. While a suspect has been detained, our work as a state is not over. As governor, I'm committing to the city and to Brown and the broader community that has been impacted by this to make sure everyone who needs assistance, mental health assistance, can access them. National with Hawaii, everybody out there in the country. Let's support our neighbors.
On behalf of Senator Whitehouse, Congressman Magaziner, Congressman Amo, I first want to express our profound condolences to those families who've lost a loved one, injured, speedy recovery. I must commend the leadership. Mayor Smiley has done us we saw for us to start beyond. This has been a horrible.
Thank you, Mayor. So yeah, the message is the same. I'll echo the message from the mayor earlier as far as where are we with the investigation. I'll tell you that right now, the investigation continues to progress extremely fast. We're in the process of collecting evidence and seizing items that we need to seize, search locations that we need to search. I want to commend the response, the quick response of ATF, FBI. As the items get seized and collected, obviously they will provide the resources and the equipment that we need to ensure that we have the right legal requirements and facts in order to be able to provide that so that we can move along. I also want to commend the Attorney General's office, who has been standing by us to ensure that our process is continuing in a proper manner. And so that's where we're at with it. We'll continue. It's a complex investigation. I know there's some speculations out there about names, and I'm not here to confirm or comment. I know you're going to ask me that as far as names. I'll tell you that I'm not going to confirm or comment because in the years,
I didn't know there was names already. See, I gotta get deeper in the chatter. I haven't been on Facebook today. This is why I don't know who it is. There has to be some chatter about who this individual is. I'm curious if he's from Rhode Island, from Brown University. They're not gonna release that until they got all their ducks in order, though. Let's continue.
that I haven't visited in this department, in this police department, we stand on grounded facts, not a speculation. And at that point, we'll be able to, once we're ready and we have the appropriate and accurate information, we'll be able to update you with that. My goal is that we're able to have that information as soon as possible. But again, I tell you that respectfully, and I have the responsibility to respect the integrity of this investigation. I think that is complex. Any detective that worked last night and all the agents that worked last night, I have responsibility to respect the work that they're doing. And so when we're ready to provide you with that info and to come to or to give you the right info, I will make sure that you get that updated. So.
Colonel managed to establish any connection between the suspect and the university. Why did the suspect target the university?
So that's all part of the investigations that we're conducting.
So they're gonna let them ask some questions, but I just want to clarify. This started at 4:05 p.m. last night. So at some point around 4 o'clock last night, a gunman entered. There was a notice about shots fired. It might have been a little bit sooner than that, but that's when all this came to fruition. Hey, Black Beauty, thank you for joining the vertical chat as well. We won't know until they are done completely. Yeah, Rhode Island doesn't play. Rhode Island's not about to let you in on an investigation and feed you details until they spoil their whole, like, they're not telling you a goddamn thing. They're not a sunshine state. They're not going to tell you every little detail. They're going to keep going. And once they have accurate information, they'll release it. But yes, he's not playing when he says facts. I am curious who everybody is saying it already is.
And again, it's complex. And we want to make sure that once we have, at the appropriate time, give you the accurate information, we'll be able to provide that information for you in that answer. Go ahead, John.
Colonel, the person of interest, is that the same individual that we saw on the surveillance video you released?
So again, I'm not going to speculate. I want to make sure that if I give you an answer, it's grounded on facts. And so we're getting to that point, but it's going to take time. Detective work is not something that you can answer or solve within a minute. It takes.
Okay, tell them. Detective work is not something that you could solve in a minute. You know how stupid it would be for him to get up there and confirm, yes, the individual we have is the one in the video, until they can truly confirm that. You know, I wonder why reporters ask questions like this. I feel like someone earlier said, what is the sign language guy saying? He's going in, like his face when he was talking about their rank. Hold on, let me. You guys know I'm the queen of facial expression. He was like, I was like, why is he going in? But like, that's just maybe he emotes with his face, and it's his way and his style of doing sign language. But yeah, Rhode Island. I don't know why Magic Mama said Rhodesia Island. It's Rhode Island, okay? That's the state that this happened in. That's where Brown University is located. Let's continue.
It takes time, and we have to make sure that we have the right evidence in order to prosecute somebody properly. So.
Colonel, what led you to Coventry? What led you to the Providence Police there, Coventry Police,
So I'm not going to confirm or comment on locations again, John. I'll tell you that I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm telling you is the fact that we're going to continue progressing on this complex investigation to make sure that we have all the facts together in order to be able to give you what you're asking.
Do you feel better now than you did last night at midnight?
Absolutely. I think the great work of the men and women of this department, the collaboration with the different federal agencies, the fact that we stand in here all together and we all stepped up and we're making sure that we have the right answers and that we can continue on to bring peace, as the mayor stated, and calm to this city. It's a beautiful city and it's something that we take pride of. And so, yes, I feel much better.
Pat, and then the guy behind.
Talk to us about the process. The most common question I've gotten for the last 24 hours, it revolves around the fact that Brown University is the most camera-ridden, most responsive piece of real estate in Rhode Island, and yet there seems to be little or no video evidence outside of that clip. You know, respecting the investigation, is there a lot more video that we're just not able to see yet because of the ongoing investigation, or is there simply no video?
So what we shared with you the other day is what we have that we could share, and then we'll continue to, again, we're continuing to collect evidence. As we speak, we have detectives out there trying to continue to find. So I don't want to tell you that there's no more video because we might find something within the next few minutes. So yes, it's possible, but what we gave you the other day is what we have. Go ahead.
So, Colonel, if you wouldn't mind, two questions here.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about the process of releasing this 10-second clip to now someone's in custody, kind of how you all are working together to garner that information? Someone being detained, rather.
Correct. And so, yeah, someone being detained, it led us to that point as far as like when we started, obviously, it's a fast move. It's a quick response right from the beginning. Once we get the call and you pull up to a scene, obviously as chaotic as it was, and then it gets to a point that now we're asking the public for help. Tips come in, federal agents come in. At that point, private police response, detectives get to do the work. And so that's where we started. And then we ended up getting obviously to a point where we find someone of interest, we bring him in, but we're I'm pretty confident in the work that the men and women have done of the department, but I got to respect their work. Some of them haven't gone to sleep. And so I have to respect the fact.
Yeah, and I think it is great that all the agencies are really working together. This is a very, as you guys can see, that's a very diverse agency. That shows you Rhode Island. Like Rhode Island is a very, very diverse state. There's people from all walks of life, all different ethnicities, groups working within all these agencies here. But I like that they came as all law enforcement versus like, oh, the mayor's gonna speak here and there and there. Rhode Island's a very small space, right? So they're gonna keep investigating, and they're not gonna tell the news a damn thing. I promise you that. They're not. We're gonna all find out at the same time as everything's going on. But I will say, I want to know what the chatter is about who the individual is.
Fact that they're going to continue and give us what we need in order to be able to prosecute somebody properly. We yes.
Telemundo in the back.
Telemundo.
Ciertamente que este departamento trabaja muy duro para encontrar respuestas. En este momento esto fue una situación muy trágica en la ciudad de Providence, pero me gustaría acordarle a la comunidad que este departamento siempre se responde de una manera muy importante y tenemos una persona en este momento que es de interés. Estamos colectando la evidencia que es necesaria para legalmente presentarlo a la corte para así ponerle los cargos que se necesitan presentar. En este momento tenemos unas ayudas y recursos de las agencias federales, también como del fiscal del estado y también de otras personas, pero yo quiero respetar el trabajo de mis detectives y tener lo que necesitamos para poder presentar a alguien en la corte positivamente.
Y el llamado al público para colaborar en la investigación, ¿cuál es?
Sí, muchísimas gracias al público. De pronto si tienen alguna evidencia en este momento, pasaron por ahí y tienen algo que es importante para la policía, tenemos diferentes tip lines y también tenemos la oportunidad de que entren a la policía. Again, I'm not going to confirm a comment because I think this, I have a responsibility to respect the integrity of this investigation. It's a process and it's complex, and I don't want to be the one to stain that process. At this point, no, correct. And so that's the other thing. I'm not going to speculate on something with ground.
Yeah, and honestly, I think people have to wait a little bit. Like, you're not going to know details about the weapon. Oh, and I get it. Some states do news and information a lot differently. They're way more transparent, but transparency isn't always a good thing, right? This is a very, very small state. It's ingratiated within, Brown University is ingratiated within a larger city. There's a lot going on in that individual city. So I think wanting to know, like, the make and model of the weapon, that's a little aggressive. Right? I think that's a little aggressive. So, anyways, let's continue.
Without grounded facts. If we're going to charge someone, then we're going to charge somebody, and I'm going to come here and tell you, you'll be the first ones to know. Again, we're in the process of collecting evidence. We're in the process of typing search warrants as needed, and we're in the process of doing what we need to do in order to be able to get those items.
Right here. We heard of some people who work at the building who say they had some safety concerns, specifically with the lack of cameras in this building where the shooting took place. Do you know if there were cameras in the building? What was the security like in that building?
Again, I'm not going to comment as far as what was at this facility or what you're being told by or what information you're getting from somebody, but I can comment on the fact that we are working with what we have. And obviously we have somebody that's at the police station, a person of interest, and we're going to continue to build that case in order to be able to charge that person.
The FBI director is saying that they found this person of interest in a Coventry hotel because of a tip from the Providence police. Can you confirm that? The FBI director is saying that.
Because of a tip of the Providence police. Again, I'm not going to.
The FBI director is saying that they found the person of interest in a Coventry hotel because of a tip from the Providence.
So me personally, I'm not going to comment on what was told by another agency. What I'm telling you is the fact that we're going to continue this investigation. We're going to respect the integrity of it, and we're going to work closely with the Attorney General's office in order to be able to prosecute this person in the proper manner.
Colonel, what do you say to parents around the country and around the world? There are many international students at Brown who are sitting here today wondering how a gunman was able to get so close to students. Did they have a swipe card? Were they let in somehow? What do you tell parents?
I tell the parents that this is a great city. Brown has been an icon in the city. I think that this is an unfortunate incident, but I'll tell the parents that if the kids are going to come to the city, to be sure that we're going to do what we need to make sure that they're safe. And if horrific incidents like this happen, we're going to do what we need to do to make sure that we hold those people accountable.
Colonel, do you have the victims? Can you give us any information about, the two people who died, if they were students, or if we're going to get their names at all?
As far as we understand, due to some travel, not all of the victims' families have been notified. And so I hope everyone can respect the fact that we cannot share victim information if we have.
Yeah, that's tragic. Definitely check in with your people always, right? Checking in with your people always. It's sad that they're struggling to notify the family. This press conference was held a couple hours ago, so I pray that the family of these people know, right? Because that would be so tragic to have something like this happen, the night before. Let's say you were away from your phone, something like this happens. Like, I'm just praying for that family. That's so tragic.
Not yet first notified the families. It is around the holidays, and there are some people in transit, and so we need to allow for contact to be made before additional information is shared. I'm sorry that we're not able to share more. And I will just say, I know, and I said this at the outset, I know it is frustrating that we cannot share additional information on the investigation to date. However, as has been said now for almost 24 hours, bringing the individual responsible for this horrific act in our city to justice remains our top priority, along with the healing of their survivors. Bringing that person to justice means having a thorough, complete, and tight investigation, which then can be prosecuted successfully. That's how we bring justice to the individuals involved here. And so while it may be frustrating for certain members of our community to feel like we're not being fully forthcoming with some of the details, the reason that we are not sharing details that are unconfirmed is that it could compromise our prosecution. And hopefully everyone can appreciate that the top priority is in fact bringing a semblance of justice and closure. And the way in which we do that is with the strongest case possible that we can present, that the Attorney General will prosecute. And so We will not share any details that we feel could compromise that future prosecution for the sake of justice for the families.
Mayor Smiley, we've spoken to students who have been the victims of shootings in high school and now they're attending Brown, describing this as a uniquely American experience to go through not one but two school shootings. What do you feel needs to be done to keep this from happening, to stop that cycle of violence? And President Paxton, if you want to weigh in as well, ma'am.
Yeah, there's going to be many days, months, or I'm not sure how long, of both healing, but of also moments to advocate for what might need to change. Speaking for myself, at least, that's not today. We still have an active investigation underway. We still have students in the hospital. I won't be shy about sharing what I think needs to be done to make my...
Right. He's saying respectfully, that's a stupid question. We still have information that we're trying to get. We're trying to investigate what even happened. Yeah, that's a really dumb question, but I guess they're not getting anything else out of the police, so they're just throwing they're just throwing things at the wall, hoping it sticks.
My community safer, but I'm not doing that today. What I will say is when I was at the hospital today, one of the students that showed tremendous courage literally said to me, you know, that active shooter drill they made me do in high school actually helped me in the moment. Which at the same time provided me hope and was so sad. We shouldn't have to do active shooter drills, but it helped. And the reason it helped and the reason we do these drills is because it's so damn frequent. And so there'll be plenty of time, at least from my office, and I don't speak for any of the other public officials there. They're welcome to share if they so choose. There'll be plenty of time to talk about what advocacy and policy changes should be made. But we're still very, very much hard at work at the task at hand. And that is to be able to bring charges forward on the person responsible. Sir.
And then, can you just go through the nature of the conditions again? I know you did that this morning, but is everybody out of the woods?
The conditions have not changed as far as I understand. And so, as was said earlier this morning, one individual has been discharged. One individual remains in critical but stable condition, and the other 7 are in stable condition. I will say I had conversations with 4 of the students, and they were talking to their healthcare providers, and so if there are status changes, we'll be sure to share them.
Mayor, people are asking, are you expecting to do continuous status updates throughout the day, such as this, or can they expect at a future press conference that there'll be additional information? What is your plan for keeping the public informed throughout this afternoon?
Yeah, thank you. Our expectation is that this is likely our last press conference here at the Brook Street Fire Station. We set up here last night because we're on the edge of campus. There was a lot of work happening all around us. They're still processing evidence on campus, but that crime scene is wrapping up. Most of the streets, other than immediately outside of the building, have been reopened. And so we do expect to provide future updates. We will likely provide those at the Providence Public Safety Complex, and we will provide them as there are meaningful updates to share. I know that it can be frustrating for some when the update is that there's no update. But in the absence of progress, and what's important is that the investigation take the time that it needs to be right. And so when we have no update to share, we will say there's no update to share. And when we have news to share, we will share that news. But our expectation is that this is our last press conference here at the Brook Street Fire Station as we're entering sort of a new chapter as the immediate crime scene winds down and we move on to what we hope will be a prosecution and to try to help our community heal. And we talked more about things like community resources, which we've announced today.
You mentioned family services. There's a crisis support line that you might be able to...
Thank you, Governor. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, if anybody is affected by this and needs support, make sure you guys do reach out to those. To me, I'm just glad that more people weren't taken. We know these things can be very incredibly deadly. They can end in a lot of lives being lost. I'm very sorry to the people who lost loved ones, and I'm glad that they're preserving the investigation before anybody can find out, like on TV. So, Joanne says, I remember when my daughter was going through active shooter drills. I didn't think we needed that at that time, but clearly it's important. Yeah, that's like a really big point that they just made there. Like, yeah, it sucks and it's sad and it's kind of depressing that we need active shooter drills, but those drills are saving lives. You know, like, we can't control the frequency of these situations. There's not a single policy that's going to stop it, but at least being prepared and minimizing the loss is the best that we can do. If there's no loss, if we can make sure that we stop these, that's amazing. But, you know, it's at least refreshing to know that people were taught what they needed to know. You know, as a 30-year-old now being taught those drills when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, I get it. And it's only progressively gotten worse over time. So, all right, y'all. This is all I got for you guys on this case. Obviously, things are going to change a little bit now. I don't want to be the bearer of conspiracy theorists, so I'll say that today there was supposed to be a Hanukkah event where they were going to light a tree and kind of sort of just be celebrating Hanukkah. And I just hope that that has nothing to do with this. It was a day before. But, you know, the following day in Australia, there was a similar situation where, you know, just a random gunman. Now, I don't know if the guy who walked into the school was just random, so I won't even say that. But, you know, 11 people lost their lives in Australia at an event that was supposed to be celebrating Hanukkah. So, you know, I've seen some conspiracy theories, and, you know, after watching this and getting all the information, I don't even want to run with a concept like that or have that conversation. You know, unfortunately, 2 tragedies are happening in one day. You know, there's tragedies happen every millisecond at this point, it seems like. So as more information comes out on this case, though, I will come back and do an update. Obviously, if the conversation becomes incredibly mainstream and it's like changing and moving every day, I'm not going to do an everyday update. But once we know who the person is, I'm definitely going to come out and talk about it. I'm very curious if this is someone from the state, if they're a student. You know, obviously they're not going to share that information with us because, like you said, it'll completely compromise the investigation. But this is all we have right now. I wanted to share that with you all. I was not going to leave a story from my state, you know, unmentioned or undealt with, as someone who comes from the state, who spends a lot of time on Thayer Street in the Upper East Side by Brown University. I did a program in Brown University where I took a summer course there, a leadership institute. You know, I was very ingratiated in that community. So all of this touches very, very close to home, like actually close to home. So do me a favor, guys, and hit the like button on your way out, share, subscribe, do all that. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Tipu says the person is a Black American. We don't know the race of anything. And I think it's best to not make these situations racial or political. I think we should just let the facts come out. And that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully you guys have a great day. I'll send you guys off with some music. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for coming.
Florabella on my screen, her smile is shone so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share. We feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable flora. She's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable flora. She's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable flora. She's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.